Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chat About Movies. My name is John, and this video is going to be what movies I've watched in the month of May 2022. But first I'm going to do a quick unboxing for you. So this package comes from my good friend Paul, aka the 4K Chef. And I want to give a special shout out to Logan, his son, because Logan posted this to me. And I've got to say to Logan, thanks very much for doing that, and you did a great job because it's arrived to me in perfect condition. So thanks a lot, mate. So when me and Paul met up the other day, we got to talking about a certain thing here. Now all will be revealed when I open this package. And I just want to thank Paul once again for doing this for me. Very generous it was, and it helps with my, well, you know what I'm like with my slips. It helps with my obsession to get my 4K movies with slips on. So the item that Paul has sent is a 4K case. So when me and Paul were in HMV the other day, we were looking through the shelves at the 4Ks, and I picked up a 4K, which was Smoking the Bandit. So Paul had said he'd got a spare Slim 9 4K box, US, and he said, because I'd said I've got a slip for this, but it's a US slip and it'll not fit this box. So he said, I'll send you this, and you can put the slip over this. So I want to thank you once again, Paul. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to swap them over, and then I'm going to put the slip on it, and then that's me sorted with my slip for Smoking the Bandit. So there's a slip in the new case. So I was quite anxious to say, will this actually fit? Will it sort of bunch up? Will I have to cut a little bit of it off? But I don't. It fits in perfectly, which is a bit weird because obviously them boxes are a little bit bigger. So I've got here from my good friend John Hall. He came along with some movies. This was maybe a year or two ago, and he gifted me the American Blu-ray of Smoking the Bandit. So I knew I had a slip for it, and I thought, you know what it is, I've got this lovely slip here, and I've got this one, but now I can put this one on this box because it fits. It's the US box. So there you go. There's Smoking the Bandit with a slip. Also, it's got one of those slips that you see from time to time, US slips that you can open up and get a bit of information there. So I want to thank Paul and Logan once again for getting this box to me. It means that I can use this slip, and it can go in my 4K section. So cheers, mate. So first up in May, I watched Big Trouble in Little China. Now I've got a funny history with this movie because when it came out, I was very into John Carpenter, and he came out with this movie which it's kind of like a sort of comedy, action comedy, and I didn't get it at all. I was thinking, so where's the horror? I was just thought that John Carpenter made horror movies, and I just did not get the fact that he made something that was a bit different, so I didn't like it. I immediately sort of thought, right, that's not for me, and I moved on. It took us a long time to go back to it, and a lot of people say, including John Hall and Keith from Euphoria Pictures, linked down below to his channel, he said it's an amazing film, and I said say it probably is an amazing film. It's just not my cup of tea. I just didn't want to sort of look at a John Carpenter movie that wasn't like out and out like horror or something like that, science fiction, special effects, all that type of thing. So I thought, I'm not going to do it. So anyway, I did buy the Arrow version because I thought, well, it is out there, I'm going to get it. I bought it years ago and still haven't watched it. I also had the same relationship with the John Carpenter movie They Live. I thought it just wasn't my taste. So on the recommendation of Cinema Axeman, Mike, I'll leave a link to his channel down below, he had says you've just got to give They Live just one more try, because it was the way he reviewed it, it just made me think maybe I'm missing something out in here. So I just went in with an open mind, and I really enjoyed They Live. So I thought, right, I'll go back to Big Trouble in Little China. I'll give it one more try, and if I don't like it, then I've tried, and I've tried with sort of like a different mindset. So I put it on, and I had an absolute blast with this movie. I don't know what I was thinking of. When I was young, I think I just wanted one thing. It was just horror and go. And I wasn't ready to take on that other people, like directors, wanted to do other things in their sort of when they made films. So this movie looks sensational. I tell you, if they made it, well, they've got to make a 4K this movie. This movie looks brilliant on Blu-ray. It's one of the best Blu-rays I've ever seen. And I was surprised actually, because I have watched it before and didn't take too much notice of it. Well, I watched the bits of it and just didn't get away with it. So yes, so now I can say in 2022, I really enjoyed Big Trouble in Little China. Got a stellar print. It's got great sound on it, and I thought the film was a bit of a work of art actually. And I got it this time. I got the fact that John Carpenter can make another movie that's not out and out horror, and it's just an entertainment sort of fun ride. And it's just basically like a sort of fun 80s movie. And you can tell John Carpenter's behind it. It's got this sort of it's got his little bit of nuances to it, but yeah. So I'm sold on this movie. So I'm glad I rewatched it, and I do think it was very worthwhile. And I think that these days probably everyone would not think the way I was thinking back in '85 and thought, what am I watching here? I think people are a little bit more forgiving. I was a bit more critical, I think, back in the day. So anyway, I've grown up now, so I really, really rate this movie. That's Big Trouble in Little China. So next up, at the request of the Debs, we watched Tremors 2. Now this movie here doesn't feature Kevin Bacon, unfortunately. Well, none of them do, which is a big shame. And although it does have returning cast members in here, and it's a good film. It's not a bad film. I think it's trying to be a little bit like Tremors in a way. It's got callbacks to it. It's got a different sort of take on it. But in essence, I thought we really enjoyed it. We knew it was never going to be as good, but we know that these movies will probably go down in quality. But we are quite accepting of the fact of that, and we don't mind these movies to be, Deborah kind of likes her bad movies as well, if we're just going with a mindset to say, look, it's not going to be that great, but let's have fun with it. And we did have fun with it. So this movie's here, I've really got to say that I haven't watched the Tremors here because we watched it on 4K. The Arrow 4K of Tremors is sensational. Now this is the Blu-ray of Tremors 2. And I've got to say the quality was pretty bad. I don't know what the quality like is on Tremors 1. I think it's probably better than this. Better than Tremors 2, but the grain on here and the sort of noise on the movie for a movie that's shot really outside was really off-putting actually. I mean, we watched it and all that, but after seeing Tremors in glorious 4K and you're watching Tremors 2 as a sort of, it's not as I don't mind if it's got like a really sort of like a low like quality print. It's just the fact that it just had this sort of like grain in it which didn't look right. I can put up a grain, but this looked as if it was like a sort of a noise, like a sort of flex and that. So it was quite annoying actually at parts. But anyway, we did enjoy the movie, and we will be watching the rest of them. So that's Tremors 2. So next at the cinema, me and the Debs saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, after seeing Spider-Man in the multiverse, which I was blown away by far the best ever Marvel movie, best ever Spider-Man movie. It was just sensational. I was expecting a lot from this, but it didn't really deliver on the multiverse levels. I'm not a big fan of Doctor Strange, the character. I don't really watch his sort of solo movies. But of course, with Sam Raimi returning, I thought I've got to see this movie anyway. And with the following on from Spider-Man, I thought, yeah, this is going to be good. And it was good. Don't get us wrong. I mean, the special effects were great. It was very much a Sam Raimi movie. You can see loads of bits, loads of little callbacks to sort of the Evil Dead times. Yes, the car is in this, and from all his other movies, the whatever it's called, the Oldsmobile. And yeah, so it was a decent film. It just, I don't know, the multiverse aspect of it just didn't deliver for me. I thought you could have done a lot more with returning characters, and it just wasn't there for me. I was waiting for the big payoff, and it didn't sort of come, unfortunately. But the movie itself is a movie that, if you didn't have the Spider-Man movie before it, this movie would have been sensational. But with Spider-Man coming out, I think Spider-Man's kind of spoiled it for a lot of these. If they do more of these multi-universe movies, unless they have a big, like sort of like callbacks and have big characters coming into it, you feel a bit let down. I felt a bit let down by this, and I talked to my son who had seen it, and I talked to my wife after who had seen it with my son. I said, so what did you think about that? My son said, yeah, it didn't live up, did it? I says, well, it didn't. So it'll be interesting to see if Sam Raimi does anything else with Marvel. I really hope he does. I really hope he goes back to Spider-Man franchise. That would be amazing, amazing Spider-Man. So anyway, that's I would recommend it. I would go and see it, but unfortunately, don't hold it up to Spider-Man because it's not a Spider-Man movie. It hasn't got that sort of like wow factor, but it's still good. It's still a good watch, and it's still a good Sam Raimi movie. So that's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Next up on Sky Movies, me and the Debs watched Boss Baby 2. Now, we saw the other one quite a while ago, and we really enjoyed it. We enjoy these type of movies, and so it came up on Sky Movies and says, yes, let's get this watched. And it was one of the movies that I watched first of all when I'd swapped over on that little box I was talking about, one of my videos where you plug it in and it speeds your sort of connection up with the internet, which shouldn't really make too much difference to the picture quality. It would make difference to the sort of speed that the stuff is coming through your telly. But for some reason, like I say, I can't really say this 100%, but it looks as if the picture quality, the colour, has just went like to a next level. And I haven't changed any of the picture settings. So this one was probably the best looking colour movie I've ever seen of Sky Movies. It was absolutely unreal. I kept looking at it and saying to Deborah, "Is this as colourful as I thought it was?" She says, "Yes, it's ultra colourful." So I've no doubt that on the 4K of this would look sensational. I know that the 4K of Boss Baby looks really nice as well. And of course, can't wait to get this, but you know, we got slip problems, never mind. So we'll be picking this up on 4K because it looked absolutely sensational. That's Boss Baby 2. So next I watched on Sky Movies, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, as everybody knows, I'm not a massive fan of Ghostbusters. I have seen 1 and 2. I did prefer 2 to 1, and that was it really. I have seen the 2016 one, and I thought it was alright. I don't really class it as a Ghostbusters movie, but I classed it as a movie that I kind of enjoyed. I thought it was quite funny. So when this one came out, I had no really intention of seeing it at all. It came up on Sky Movies. It was there, and I thought, well, I'll watch it and see what I think about it. It might be alright, it might not be. A lot of people talk highly about this movie, so I thought I'd give it a go and see what it is. And then I can say I've watched it, because I have watched all the other ones, even though I'm not a massive fan of Ghostbusters 1 and 2. So put it on, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. I really, really liked this movie. The print and the quality and the colours on Sky Movies was unreal. So no doubt that the 4K of this one will look sensational, of course. As with Boss Baby 2 and this one, what happens? You don't get a slip on it, do you?
Remember me? Where's my slip covers?
Exactly, Michael. So that's another one where I see these ones that don't have slips on. I know that I will get them as cheap as possible, because I think that it's a bit of a travesty not having the option to have a slip cover on something you're going to be paying 25 quid for. But anyway, we'll talk enough about that. There will be a video coming out about slip cases very soon. So usually after waiting so long to make a sequel to movies that don't really turn out that good, you don't really get the things that you would like to get. And I think that this one ticked all the boxes for me. I know that some people say it was just like it was serving the fans, but why not? I mean, it's the fans who want to go and see these movies, and I do agree with anybody who's a big fan of Ghostbusters that this is the kind of the true Ghostbusters 3. You can ignore the 2016 one and put it in a separate pile, although I do like it. But yeah, so this was it had everything that you would want from a Ghostbusters movie. I mean, obviously I remember what Ghostbusters 1 and 2 was about. There was a few callbacks that I didn't really get at first, but yes, the various monsters and the ghosts I did get after a while. But I just thought that the whole cast was great. I thought the whole where that's set up, the story, how they were able to bring people back was amazing. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will get it on 4K because I would watch this again a lot. Anyway, so I would say this is a highly recommended, not to tell you the picture quality and all. It's one of those ones where you think if it looks this good on Sky Movies, it's going to look that bit better on 4K. So that's Ghostbusters Afterlife. So last up I watched, and my recommendation for the month is An Evening with Beverly Liflin. This movie was something else. I honestly thought this was one of the best things I've ever seen. It's so good. It's so strange as well. If I can give you a little bit of I don't think I can spoil this movie because it's so strange. Even if I told you the whole plot, you would still want to see it. So the story focuses around Beverly Liflin, and he doesn't say anything for the movie. He kind of grunts, but there's a reason behind that. And this girl here has had a relationship with him in the past, and he disappeared when he went for a swim and never come back. So she wants to ask him about that. So this character here has been hired as a sort of private eye to keep an eye on her by her husband, who knows that she's up to something when she's trying to go and see him in concert. This movie has got some of the best lines in it ever. It's got some of the best swearing I've ever heard in my life. People are just swearing. It's just amazing. The cast for me is sensational. I mean, Aubrey Plaza. I watched anything that she's in, and all the other people in here. You've got Matt Berry. You've got Jermaine Clement, who's from the Flight of the Conchords, which I think is brilliant, and you've got Emile Hirsch, which is he's brilliant in this movie. I don't really see him in many other movies, not playing a part like this, and it's just so odd. And it's got some great music in here. It's some like sort of like keyboard synthesizer music, and when he does his concerts, you can't believe the songs that he sings. The music that he sings sounds a little bit like the TV show This Is Ginzy. Don't know if anybody's ever seen that, but the songs that they sing on there sounds like the songs you would have in this film. Also as well, there's a dance scene where these two are dancing to a song called Words by F.R. David. Now I've heard that song millions of times back in the day. I think it came out in about 1983. And it's amazing when you can put a song to to a movie, and it sort of transports it to a different level. And I've just had that song on a loop. I cannot get that song out of my head. It's a brilliant song. It's just Europop, but the way that these two dance to it, especially her, is absolutely. So this movie ticks every single box that I can think of. I can't recommend this highly enough. It was one of the funniest and one of the best things I've ever seen. The print on it as well is astounding. So this I'm going to watch this. I want to watch this again now. It's just absolutely brilliant. If you can see it, I saw it like dead cheap in CEX. It's one of those movies that looks like you think, well, what on earth can that be? If it had a different cover, I might not even give it a second glance. But the fact it had her on, had all this cast on, I thought, right, I'll take a chance on it, and it could be all right. It was done by the same bloke who done there. It's a British guy who did it actually. And he did The Greasy Strangler, which is another crazy movie which has got to be seen to be believed. This one isn't as sort of like out there as The Greasy Strangler, but it's so odd and bizarre and really funny, watchable. The swearing is next level. It's sensational actually, so I can't recommend this highly enough. That's An Evening with Beverly Liflin. What a title. So thanks once again to Paul, aka the 4K Chef, and Logan, for giving me the chance to put this in a slipcover. That's brilliant. So thanks for watching. You take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.
Chicken! 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 Chicken!